Today, we are diving into a fad health trend known as the girl dinner. We will discuss what it is, why it's problematic, and what we should be focusing on instead for optimal hormone, reproductive fertility, and overall health. And for those of you new here, hello, my name is Maddie Miles. I am a clinical herbalist and integrative health practitioner, and I specialize in women's health. I created this channel and Peace Love Hormones, my herbal medicine brand for women's health, to create educational and empowering content to share with all of you all to help you on your health journey and so that you can feel more empowered when it comes to your hormone health, your reproductive and fertility health, and just your overall health and well-being. So if this sounds interesting to you, please do hit subscribe so that you can stay up to date with all past and future episodes. So let's start off with talking about girl dinner and what it is. So girl dinner is this trend on social media that started around 2023, but is still going even though we are well into 2024. It is still alive and thriving. And this trend is essentially just women sharing their very small, minimalist, snack-like dinners and meals and calling it girl dinner. And this is very problematic because it just further reinforces this really silly and honestly quite harmful societal norm that we have when it comes to women and our nutrition, and that we don't need to eat a lot and that we can just get by with eating these little tiny snacky meals or even skipping meals altogether. And this is just furthest from the truth. We, just like all humans, need to be nourishing ourselves on a daily basis, 3 meals a day, snacks if needed as well. If we're going longer than 3.5, 4 hours between meals, we just need to eat when we're hungry, and we should feel hungry because that's normal. It's a normal physiological response that comes with being human. So this trend, again, which started making its waves on social media last year and is still around this year, is really problematic because we need to be encouraging and inspiring ourselves and other women to actually nourish ourselves. We need a lot of energy every single day to power our brains, to power our movement, our exercise, our talking, our thinking, all of the things. And then you get down into the more physiological level of our menstrual and ovulatory cycles, also known as the infradian rhythm, and just how energy consuming this entire cycle is. And even more so when you're in your luteal phase, and even more so if you are pregnant and growing a human inside of your own body. And again, if you are postpartum and breastfeeding. So as women, we actually require a lot of nutrients, micro and macronutrients. So this whole idea that women don't need to eat a lot, that we can skip meals and or eat these little tiny snacky dinners, and that it's so normalized and so okay that it's even called girl dinners. It's not called snacky dinners, it's called girl dinners, is just really, really silly. So I remember I used to feel uncomfortable eating as much as my now fiance at a meal. And that was years ago, though. I have long since moved past that, especially as I've gone deeper and deeper into my own research and studies and just understanding, number one, when we're hungry, which is a very healthy, physiological response, we should eat. And that we should eat until we feel satiated. And we know if we fed ourselves enough because we can go up to 4 or so hours between meals before we really start to feel hungry again and need more nutrients. So of course this is different depending on age and your lifestyle as well. Are you super active? Are you not very active? Obviously this can change day to day, and preferably we are moving our bodies throughout the day. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but even just a post-meal walk. And you know what? Before I just get into this whole tangent into other aspects of nutrition and lifestyle and movement and exercise, especially as it relates to our hormones and our cycles, I'm going to stop myself because I could just talk and talk and talk and talk. And I just want to focus on this bad trend known as girl dinner today in this episode. However, if you do want to dive into these other topics that I'm talking about, you could just go down the rabbit hole of what is my YouTube channel and my podcast. If you're listening on Spotify or on Apple, I have Upwards of 90 episodes. YouTube did just start in January of 2024, so we don't have as many episodes here on YouTube, but we do have plenty for you to watch and listen to. So I am here to be a resource, a guide, and to be your biggest cheerleader while you're on this health journey. So getting into a few of the other consequences of this fad health trend known as girl dinner, aside from the fact that it just glorifies this unhealthy and silly societal norm that we have around women not needed to eat a lot of food, which again, we just broke that down, why that is silly. Let's get into a few of the other reasons why this trend is problematic. So number one, nutrient deficiencies. These tiny, small dinners, even if it is all organic and healthy and maybe even local, tiny little dinners are not going to provide our bodies, our brains, and everything, every single process that happens throughout the day and night with the energy that it needs if it's not getting enough fuel from the food that we're eating. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is a lot of these videos that I'm seeing on social media of girl dinner, they're not just small and snack-like, but they're also containing a lot of processed foods. So that brings in a whole other issue of not only now is a woman not eating enough to supply her body and mind with energy, but she's not even eating real wholesome nutrient-dense foods. So the nutrients that she is getting from the meal, well, it's not a lot because of a small quantity and because of the food and the biochemical makeup of that food itself. So nutrient deficiencies are really a very serious problem, especially when it comes to women's hormone health and our fertility health. Our hormones need micronutrients and especially protein, amino acids, and healthy fats and carbohydrates to, number one, produce our hormones, but also just to everything else in our body to regulate everything else in our bodies. So when we skimp out on our meals, we are missing out on essential vitamins, minerals, and macronutrients, all of which are the building blocks for our cells and the processes of our bodies that are, again, going on every single day and every single night to keep us alive, and not just alive, but also healthy and happy and functioning properly. So there's so many processes and systems and organ systems that make up our body and who we are, and they need these micronutrients in order to do this all. So it's very important that we throw out this idea that we can have these really small processed dinners and that we will be healthy and we will have healthy hormones and healthy cycles, because that's just not the case. So we really do need to take care of ourselves, and a huge way to do this, arguably one of the most important ways to do this, is through having very nutrient-dense foods. Our second point, which gets into the more hormonal impact of these smaller snack-like dinners and is connected to what we just talked about, to the nutrient deficiencies that come from having these smaller snack-like dinners. Our hormones need the building blocks to create themselves. So a huge part of the building block process are the micronutrients that we extract from the food that we eat. And again, I mentioned this earlier, but our ovulatory menstrual cycles are very energy dependent. So how do we get that energy again in the form of ATP produced in our cells and the mitochondria of our cells? Well, from foods, and specifically our ability to break down the foods as well. And therefore we need a healthy, robust digestive system. If you want support when it comes to your health, your gut health, specifically your overall digestive health, I do have episodes for you on that. So don't worry about that. You can get much deeper into that topic over there, and I'll link it up somewhere around here if you're watching this on YouTube, and I'll link it up in the show notes of this episode if you are just tuning into this on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple. But these snack-like dinners also impact our gut negatively, especially if you're eating a lot of processed foods. And again, even if you're not eating processed foods and you're just having a tiny little snack-like dinner with all healthy, organic, natural foods, well, still you're not giving your gut, and specifically the gut microbiome, all of the nutrients that it needs to be healthy and just to have a flourishing, healthy microbiome. So we need a healthy gut to have healthy estrogen levels and progesterone, and just our overall hormonal, endocrine, reproductive ecosystem needs a healthy gut in order to be healthy. So if you are struggling with your hormones or your cycles or your fertility, you really do need to prioritize gut and digestive health. And a great way to support your gut is to actually have healthy, balanced, satiating meals. So another reason why these girls' dinners, they just won't they won't cut it. Lastly, I do want to say, if every once in a while you have a snack like dinner because you are having a picnic or you are traveling, or I'm trying to think of other reasons why you would have a snack like dinner, but it happens and it's okay to do it every once in a while. However, when someone is just chronically, consistently eating snack-like dinners and also skipping meals, well, this is when we're going to reap a lot of the long-term consequences, such as decreased metabolic health and negatively impacting our thyroid health as well. You can either experience weight gain or weight loss in an unhealthy way, acne, hormonal and fertility and cycle issues. The list goes on. Blood sugar imbalances as well, which can lead to also insulin malfunctioning as well, which is connected to metabolic health, which I already mentioned. But nonetheless, everything is connected within the body and the mind. And a lot of these processes and these organs and these systems will start to underperform the longer that you go malnourished, undernourished, etc., from having these little tiny snack-like meals. So let's get into the fun part of the episode where we talk about how to build a hormone-healthy meal. And I'm saying hormone-healthy because it will support your hormone health. But if you are here because you want to optimize your overall health and well-being, well, then this also applies to you as well. So there is this equation that I talk about a lot. If you follow me on social media over on Instagram, you'll see me talk about it pretty often. But I have this equation to I usually call it a blood sugar healthy or a blood sugar balancing meal. But also, when we are taking care of our blood sugar stability and therefore our insulin health and our overall hormone and endocrine health, well, then everything's connected. So we're going to feel really great. And the equation is a complete protein, about 20 to 30 grams. Again, very dependent on how active you are and your age, etc. And a hormone healthy fat and a complex carbohydrate that is preferably rich in fiber. This equation to a meal is going to leave you feeling satiated. Even better if you can choose really high quality foods for all of these macro groups, and that these foods that you're choosing are also very nutrient dense. Obviously, that will be even better, but hey, one step at a time, right? I do not want to stress anyone out with this episode or any of the content that I put out there. So this is just supposed to be educational, informational. You take it, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and one step at a time, right? Like little changes, nothing happens overnight. So just a little reminder. But let's get into the first macro group first, and let's talk about protein. So protein is made up of amino acids, which are essential for our muscle repair, our hormone production, maintaining healthy skin, healthy hair, healthy mood. It keeps us satiated and our mood and our energy stabilized. It supports our blood sugar. It supports our insulin. It supports our metabolism. Protein is very, very important. So make sure to eat enough protein at every single meal. Again, about 20 to 30 grams, person dependent, but try to find what works best for you. Some good sources are wild-caught smash fish. Yes, smash. It stands for salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardine, and herring. These fish are very high in essential omega-3 fatty acids and are smaller fish, so they tend to be lower in the heavy metals. Also, pasture-raised organic eggs and chicken, grass-fed and grass-finished meats. I love bison, and we buy this ancestral blend of bison from, oh my gosh, what is it called? I'm totally forgetting the farm right now, but you can buy it at Whole Foods and at most grocery stores, and I've been loving that blend because it contains the liver and the heart and the spleen. It's so satiating, so nourishing, and if you are not into red meat that much, trust me, I hear you. I did not eat red meat for a little over 6 years, but I realize the place that it can have in someone's life, in someone's healthy way of living, especially if you're a woman and especially during your period and right after your period, to really help replenish your blood and your iron and to support your hormone production as we are leading up to ovulation. So I am definitely pro animal meats, but making sure that you are going local when possible and wild caught, especially for fish, and supporting your local regenerative farmers. I do have an entire podcast episode that's pretty long about regenerative farming, and that is on Apple and on Spotify. So if you're interested in that, please give it a listen. I was vegan for a long time. I talk about my journey with that a lot, and there's no right or wrong. There's just what works best for your body. So for a more in-depth conversation, definitely head over there and listen to that episode. But there are also plenty of healthy, satiating, plant-based proteins as well. You just have to make sure you pair them properly to complete the amino acids. But there are grains and legumes. I love rice and beans, like pairing those together are really great. So just do what works best for you. Honestly, eat what sounds good and appetizing and what you know will also nourish your body as well. That is your decision to make and yours alone. Next are healthy fats. So I am so glad that for the most part, the low fat and no fat health trends are behind us. For the most part, I think. So I'm very happy about that. Healthy fats are essential for hormone production and for the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. And they also help with our skin vibrance and hydration and vitality and our hair and for our gut and for our blood sugar and our metabolism. Fats are very important. So I love cold-pressed, organic, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil as well, again, organic and cold pressed. I love nuts and seeds. Some people are really anti-nuts and seeds. Again, do what works best for you and choose organic because that is very, very important, especially when it comes to gut sensitivities. Often the sensitivities are to the sprays and the pesticides that are put all over our crops and plants and food, and not so much the actual food itself. So, but again, there are so many different nuts and seeds, so see what works best for you and see what you like and what your body responds well to. Nut seeds, we said olive oil, olives as well, avocados. Oh my goodness, I love avocados. And then also if you are eating fish and meats, you will get a lot of healthy fats from those products as well. Next is complex carbohydrates and specifically fiber-rich complex carbohydrates. So an example of a complex carbohydrate would be any root vegetable. So for example, sweet potatoes. Or just regular potatoes. So if you are choosing a complex carbohydrate that doesn't have a lot of fiber, you can add in another complex carbohydrate such as leafy greens or broccoli or any of the cruciferous vegetables or asparagus, something that has more fiber to it, or perhaps beans or legumes, especially if you're having those as a part of your protein. Just making sure that your meal in general has fiber, whether it is from the proteins, the complex carbohydrates, etc. It's very important to have fiber. And complex carbohydrates, there are so many to choose from. And while I highly recommend that everyone tries to incorporate some sort of leafy green or cruciferous vegetable into their meals, this doesn't have to be the only carbohydrate that you have. So again, the type of carbohydrate that you choose and the amount of carbohydrate that you choose is again totally up to you, bio-individuality. All of our body's needs are very unique, especially us women. We are changing and our metabolism is changing, and all of these things are changing throughout our ovulatory menstrual cycle. So, for example, you may be able to handle carbs much more efficiently in the luteal phase when we are carb efficient, and not as well during the follicular and ovulatory phases. However, that doesn't mean that you should cut out carbs during those phases. You just may change the type of carbohydrates that you're choosing to cook and eat during those phases. So again, that's just one example, and really just listen to your body. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard from women that they have cut out carbs for whatever reason, and it totally messed up their cycle. It made them break out. It made them very stressed out. They weren't sleeping as well, and it just kickstarts this domino effect of negative health symptoms. So please do not cut out carbohydrates. This food group is the only food group that can actually cut cortisol levels. It can actually help to lower high cortisol levels. They are very nourishing. Just choose the right carbohydrates for you, right? And they're delicious. I love my root vegetables, especially beets and sweet potatoes. I love squash. Also fruit. We haven't even talked about fruit yet, but that falls under this category as well. Our fresh fruits and rice and other types of grains and legumes. Again, whatever works best for you. Some people do have a sensitivity to grains, so please listen to your body and take everything that I'm saying here with a grain of potassium. Do what works best for you. So to wrap up this episode, the girl dinner is this trend that glorifies women eating very small snack-like meals. And I hope that this episode gave you the information around why this trend is problematic and why we should move away from this trend and instead nourish ourselves with satiating meals. We also broke down the equation, so to say, of a hormone-healthy, blood sugar balancing, overall healthy satiating meal, including a complete protein, a hormone-healthy fat, and a complex carbohydrate, and making sure that your meal has enough fiber to keep you full, to feed your gut bacteria, and to just keep you overall healthy, happy, and just vibrant as a human being. And if any of this episode was stressful to you, I just want to reiterate that all of this is just meant to be information that you can take, and you can take what resonates, you can leave what doesn't, you can implement certain things and not for other things. You can take it one step at a time. In fact, I highly recommend taking everything when it comes to your health one step at a time, because little changes equal massive results. So do one thing every single day, or maybe it's one thing every other day, or once a week you're trying something new when it comes to your health. But I don't want any of this to be stressful. And when it comes to nutrition and recipes and cooking, a lot of women have told me that meal prepping certain things on Sundays has really, really helped them. So whether it's meal prepping your fruits and vegetables, making sure they're all washed and cut and cooked and cleaned and all that stuff and ready to go in your fridge for you to assemble a meal. Maybe it could also be prepping some rice or some oats or some legumes or chicken, for example, or hard-boiled eggs. Oh my goodness. I do have a little bit of a congested throat right now, so sorry if I've kind of sounded funny at all during this episode. For any repeat listeners, you may be wondering what is going on with Maddie's voice, but thank you for bearing with me, everyone, because this episode needed to go out and I wanted to make sure that I recorded it and got this information out to you all. Anyway, I think this is my sign though that I need to take a step back, go rest, and stop recording myself. So I just want to say one last time, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't stress out about any of this. Just be excited that you have all of this information and knowledge to take care of yourself and to improve your hormone and reproductive and fertility and overall health and well-being. And if you enjoyed this episode, please do share it with another woman in your life or with another man in your life who also could hear this. So share it with anyone, share it on your stories, tag me and or Peace Love Hormones. I love to see y'all's stories, so please do tag me if you do share it. And thank you for tuning in. Until next time, Peace Love Hormones. I hope to see you in a future episode.